So check that out. That is a VR6. That is a Jedi, like a 2000. And I'm gonna start another project with my boy with this 78 Scirocco, the blue one. And we're gonna do a VR6 swap. And this car here I got for pretty dang cheap, like a couple $100. I got this one only for the transmission, which is a 5-speed, and supposedly it's good. It felt good. He said it's got a new clutch in there. This particular car here, the motor was blown up on it, evidently. And so they did this swap, this VR6 here, out of a different car. And evidently he put a new clutch in it, and his buddy put timing chains on it, because these motors are evidently, famous for a timing chain noise, a slap up against the housing. Anyway, he never had it running, so I goes to pick it up. I come and I see stuff like this everywhere. Everything he touched, there's bolts loose. There's bolts loose down on the axle. There's bolts missing from the manifold. There's bolts missing from the valve cover. There's stuff unplugged. Hoses reefed around each other, wires pulled tight around each other. There's this weird little block off thing right here, whatever that is. Where am I at? This thing. So if I could spend just a little bit of time and get this thing running, that's what I'm going to try and do before I pull it out of here for the transmission. Because again, that's the only reason I bought the car. So if I get this motor running, and if it's a good running motor, then it's fine. I tried turning it over with my boy yesterday, and it just had the signs of it being 180 off. You kind of hear like an intake noise, like poop, 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 puffing through the intake. And once in a while, a little backfire here and there. Misfire. So I'm half wondering if the timing chains didn't get put on where the cams are 180 off. I don't know, we'll see. If not, I'm not going to spend much time on it, messing with it, because I got another one outside which came with some cool wheels. There they are. I don't know, those are going to be for sale one way or another. This one here, which is an 03. Now this one is a 24 valve. Let me get this open. Which has the 200 horsepower, because the ones with 200 horsepower come with a 6-speed. Now the bummer is, I don't know if I said, this one runs really good. It's nice and quiet, and it just wraps out hard. All the other ones are 170 horsepower. So this is a 200 horsepower 24 valve. One of the higher horsepower ones you can get in the Volkswagens. But those ones come with the 6-speed manual. And evidently that O2M transmission with the swaps, that you have to spend a bunch of money to get axles and blah blah blah. So that's why I went and got that other one with the 5-speed. I'm not going to try and buck the system. We're just going to get the 5-speed. They already got mounts made for it. They already got axles made for it. And then that way we'll go for it. And then, you know, get rid of this car, part it out, or take that motor if I get it running, put it back in this one, and sell it with that other motor in here up against that 6-speed. And just sell the whole car. It's kind of trash, but you know, it's sellable. And then put it all in that 78 Scirocco. So that thing's going to be full of motor in there. Anyway, should be a fun little project. Try and do her up nice. Take this thing apart a little bit, clean it up. So, wouldn't you know it, it just fired up. I had to run for it though. What I did was, it kept acting like it wanted to fire. So what I did is I rammed a screwdriver in here, kind of held it wide open, and then I went back out there and fired her up, and it started, so I had to run in here and shut it off real quick because it was wanting to start racing. So let's go back out here and start this thing up again. I'm going to turn the key back on. The only reason I'm doing it out here is because some reason I can't get the starter signal wire to go out here from the key. So I've got everything rigged. And what I'm doing is using this jumper wire in between the signal wire for the starter, and then this one here is the hot wire. So I just took the that screwdriver off my throttle plate. I'm going to stick this back in here. Let's see if we can fire it up. I did just put oil in the motor. So I might have to go put that a little bit, give it a little gas. I don't have anybody with me to play with it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll go lodge it in there and give it a little bit different amount of throttle, I guess. So right there, that's just partial throttle. So let's see if that fires up and how mean that is. Almost. I don't really want to. If I want exhaust coming out of there, or maybe just steam though. Not really exhaust. I think that's just steam. Noisy belt. Something noisy up here going on. running. Probably better shut it off. Well, there you go. I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. It sounded okay. Kind of exhaust leak. Noisy. Idler. Something going on over here. Gosh, it seemed really responsive. The idle kind of smoothed out. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna let it shut off. I may fire it up again here in a bit. Let's see what it'll do. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and fire this thing up. It smoothed itself out. I let it cool off a bit. So I do want to fire it up one more time and see what it feels like. I think it's pretty good. See how it starts up. Not too bad. Exhaust leak and then that accessory drive belt over there, whatever that is. Man, this thing wants to rip. I'll tell you that. Wants to rip. So there it is, the VR6. What a mess. What a mess. Transmission's oily, but I think it should be good. He said that was a new clutch, which, I don't know, he may be telling the truth because there's no oil on it. You know, we'd be seeing a little bit more of that as compared to clean. That's the only thing clean on this car. So that very well may be a brand new clutch, which will be nice. You know, every nut and bolt on this thing is loose. All the axle bolts were pretty much hand tight. Missing exhaust gaskets. They weren't even in there. One of the bolts was completely missing. One of them was loose. Looks like there's supposed to be 3 on each side, so they only had 2 on each of them and 1 on the other with no gaskets. So pretty easy to get out of there, given nothing was hooked up. No bolts were on the bottom motor mount down there. The bolts over here on each side for each motor mount, they were both loose. You know, kind of like snug. Don't have to work at it to get them loose. Here's the timing chain cover. He said he put new timing chains on it. You know, and I believe him, because when it started, it sounded quiet. And you can see all the gooped on silicone where they had that apart. And then there's 1, 2 missing bolts. 3, 4, probably 5, 6, 7, You know, so there's 7 missing bolts just right here. This one's loose. See that? And that's the way this, I can't believe this. I mean, seriously? What if this thing would have ran? Ugh. Ugh. Not good. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this thing. Probably nothing. Just sell it as a motor to put in a car with a blown motor. Because this car isn't worth anything. It's a junker. You know, nothing on it perhaps is worth scrapping. You can find fenders. I'll probably put the fenders and the doors on the internet, see if somebody wants to buy them. You never know, but it's pretty much all junk. Got my money's worth out of it, especially if it's a new clutch. Then, you know, I doubled my money on it. Paid for what the tranny was worth, and then I got just as much back with the clutch. That clutch is worth, you know, $230. And then I'll sell the motor for $200, $300, $400, $500. So, you know, this will be alright. This will be alright. And the motor, I'll probably take that apart and kind of fix everything, which just means tightening up, replacing loose bolts, tightening up the loose ones. I'm going to take the flywheel and clutch off of there, so you know, we'll take this timing cover off and fix all the seals in that and make sure the thing doesn't leak oil that way, and then sell it, put all this stuff back where it belongs. None of that's in the right spot, and yeah, sell it. Clean this up. A lot of cleanup to do. Probably paint it and get it all ready to put in the Scirocco. This is the 5-speed. It's a 5-speed for a VR6 and O2J. Pretty sure it's an O2J, but no matter what, it's going to work. And then I'll get the shifting linkage and the shifting box with the shifting lever from inside, and that'll go with it. Connections for the hydraulic clutch, reverse switch for the reverse lights, and speedometer, which hooks on right here. Speed sensor. I'm gonna have to watch out what's going on here. I just popped that cover off, but I see that's what turns right there, I believe. And the counter's on top, so I'm gonna have to pay attention how I pulled that apart. Yes. I can see how that works now. So all kind of new working with this VR6 stuff. It's all new territory.